Back, everyone, to talk about the Ballon d'Or nominees this week. We're going to be looking at all 13 nominees. We'll talk about who maybe doesn't deserve to be there just yet, and if there are any players that are missing from the list at the moment. We're also going to give you exclusively each of our top five nominees and who we think is most likely to win the Ballon d'Or. So stay tuned. Lots of exciting discussions coming up. Piero, Charles, how are you guys feeling? Ready?
Yes, sir. We're
Great.
ready. We're ready. I think it's exciting since it's international break. So let's take the time to discuss what's going on with the nominations, right?
All
I didn't
right.
see any money, Charles. So I guess you need to step up your football game.
All right, let's take a look at the list. First five. Any weird names that maybe shouldn't be there for you guys?
I mean, it's a
I mean,
it's a big yeah. Go ahead, Charles.
I was gonna say, we're looking at the top 30, right? So
Yep.
in a list of
13 nominees.
these, I mean, it's gonna be weird to say this person should not be, because now when we start getting five, then if you say Guardiola should be in your top five, now you know, Champions League, Guardiola, World Cup, Musiala, the German league, I believe. Salah on this list. Salah is a little, but he did get a couple of goals. At least he got over 20 positions last season. Although Liverpool had on this,
Yeah.
Salah may be questionable.
Mm.
Benzema,
Really?
Benzema.
Wow.
I want to look at Benzema and Salah. Benzema didn't play the World Cup, and what did Real Madrid do? So there are questions on Benzema also. Yeah, I'll stick with Benzema on this list.
Agreed. By the way, I should add real quick, the editorial team at France Football apparently is responsible for putting together this initial list of 30.
Mhm.
And then the 100 journalists from the top 100 countries in FIFA get to vote. Each journalist gives their top five, and then based on that, every position on their list gets a number of points, and that's how the eventual winner is determined. So it's a broad range of people. It's open to to maybe some funny things happening at the end, but we'll see. Let's take a look at any disagreement with what Charles said there, Piero.
Uh, just a little. I mean, if you're focusing on these five players you're showing right now,
Yeah.
I think Salah deserves to be there. I think I would have dropped Musiala. Um, uh, people that know me and know my stand on Musiala might think I'm a bit biased right now, but I think I would have dropped Musiala out of this group of five. But maybe in considering the 30, I think it's fine to keep him there. I like I said, I think I've discussed this in the past, especially during the World Cup. He's a great player. He's a great guy. He's a young kid that has a very bright future. So I don't see him not winning in future. But right now, I don't think it's there. I think he needs to add maturity to his game. The World Cup game, he has to be progressive. You don't play and just not provide a very good deliverable at the end of the thing. And that's the problem that I have with Musiala, not providing that end product that helps
Yeah.
and lifts the team. So I don't know why it's there, but I think for a list of 30 all over the world, I think it's good and I think it's encouraging for him to be there so that I can improve on his game. Benzema definitely deserves to be there. I think he bowed out of the European soccer in a very nice fashion, even though they didn't win the Champions League, they won it the last time. And I think he did very well last season, based on his age. Onana deserves to be there, one of the top keeper right now. They can play with his feet. He's not finding it right now, finding it easy right now with Man U. But I think it deserves to be on the list. Salah, Liverpool didn't do well overall, but he still got like over 20 goals, like Charles mentioned. So I think it should be there. But they had an excellent game in the Bundesliga as well as in the World Cup. Considering his age, he deserves to be there. So the only person I would have dropped, if you asked me to drop, would be Musiala. But that's not a dent on his career. I think he has a bright future to win it at some point in his career.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add, so Salah did have 29 goals and 13 assists, which is, that's remarkable contribution from any player over the course of a season. And I think Musiala is there for his impact in the Bundesliga. I know he seemed to huff and puff a lot at the World Cup, but in the Bundesliga in particular, he had 12 goals and 10 assists in over 33 games. So that's a contribution of 22 goal contributions over 33 games, almost a goal or assist every game. So I think that explains why he's made it to the list. All right, let's take a look at the
Real quick.
next five.
Because
Yeah,
I take that on the whole talk about Benzema being questionable. Only the current, so that he kind of puts him on it. So
Thank
on
you.
that list,
I didn't even say that. Yeah.
I'm kind of agree with the other one. Although it's still
Oh wow,
between
interesting.
and what's the name?
Musiala.
About 30, those guys are not bad people to list. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Next five. How's this looking for you guys?
Who goes first?
Piero?
I wish
Okay. All right. Cool.
you also.
Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm interjecting. I'm adding my thoughts on the five.
I think
Right.
everyone deserves to be here. If I had to drop anyone, I'll probably drop Mwani, Kolo Mwani. That's probably the player that I would drop. He had a good showing in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The league overall, I think he had a great time in the Bundesliga, but not something to make him make that list. I think he probably made this list because of the World Cup. That's my personal feelings. I think Mwani is on this list because of the World Cup. Bukayo Saka, I don't think anybody will argue with that. Kevin De Bruyne finally landed the Champions League. I mean, this guy should be on the top five. So he's a possible winner. Bernardo Silva, great guy. I mean, he deserves to be there. Jude Bellingham, come on, man. Again, comparing Jude Bellingham and Musiala, I have some group of friends that this thing creates a split. Some people are Musiala fans, some people are Jude. I'm Jude always, like Jude number one. So Jude, great guy. He's not going to win it. I don't think he should be on the top five as well. But I think he has a bright future, like I called out for Musiala. If he continues to do what he's doing right now, this guy will be nominated against next year. Now, if Real Madrid comes back and win the Champions League like the bet rights, obviously you probably have a winner there. So I see a fight for him between him and Erling Haaland. Again, this is me predicting next season when we are not even concluded on this season. But the only person I would drop is Mwani, and I turn it back to Charles.
Charles.
It's funny, I don't even have. Yeah, Mwani, like you said, is probably there because of the World Cup, and I actually think this list is easy to pick someone to drop. It's easier to pick someone to drop than it was in the list you presented. So yeah, Mwani definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was started eventually anyway for the World Cup, but they made it to the. So if I was someone, it would be in. 60 players are to drop right now when they show up on this list because of what they did last season. So when I receive a KDB, you cannot. Bukayo Saka, with him being on Arsenal phenomenal season in the league, but somebody like the did his job. And Jude, Musiala fan and a Bellingham fan. We've had a conversation in the past. I think he's a little more skillful, but aside, Jude is on fire right now, and he's been doing it for it, so he deserves to be on the list. So easily, I would agree with Biodu and say Mwani we don't know pick out from this list.
Yep. For me, there's nobody I would drop. Point of note: so Moani apparently had 15 goals and 11 assists in the Bundesliga last season.
16.
15
and
16
goals.
16 goals.
Yeah.
So
16.
He had quite the impact. So I think that's why he even made it into the French national team at all for the World Cup. So I think on the balance of it, there are players who, they had quite a bit of impact. So maybe they're not yet quite there at the top level. But,
Yeah.
over what they did at last season, they're deserving to be in this list. As much as I love Bernardo Silva, though, I feel like Bernardo Silva has very little impact in terms of end product, in terms of, what you quantify as goals and assists. But there's no denying the quality that Bernardo Silva brings to the team. He's capable of doing it all. I mean, we saw him at left back, center back, left wing, right wing, central midfield all last season. So players like that are just infallible, even though you might not necessarily be able to quantify what they're adding in terms of numbers. All right, let's go to the next list.
So,
I was just going to say something if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay, I have what
Just
you were
want me
going
to
to
go
say,
first?
Beardo.
Okay. Again, this is just to create a little back and forth, but I'll be quick. So I hear you about Kolomwani based on the number of goals. If we're just looking at number of goals in the league,
Yeah.
because I still believe that he's on that list because of the World Cup. Our own former Arsenal player, Lacazette scored over 20 goals last season in the French league. He's not on the list. So let's just
But it's both,
appreciate that.
right?
But
It's both. It's both.
you
It's,
know what
it's what he
that's
did in
the
the
point I'm trying to
league,
make.
and
It's
then
the World Cup. It's the World Cup that made him get on this list. Same thing as Folarin. Folarin that even came late, that was on loan, right? Had as much goals as Mwani. So there are many players around Europe that had double-digit goals across the league. You understand what I'm saying?
But here's the way
But
I
that
look at
shouldn't
it,
get
right?
anybody on the list.
Here's the way I look at it. If he didn't have those performances in the Bundesliga, he's not getting to the stage at the World Cup. And if he's not that good of a player, he's not announcing himself at the World Cup at such a young age. So I think the work that he had done over the course of the season, or that he did over the course of the season, prepared him and actually got him to that stage. And then, of course, we saw what he was able to do at the World Cup. It's one thing to make the World Cup squad. It's another thing to actually, make a name for yourself when you get the chance to play, especially in a squad like France's squad.
So I have to
It's
say,
both.
to the previous picture. Go back to the previous
Sure.
list.
Yep.
You made a statement you wouldn't draw anyone. Well, I think we should all from each list. If you had to, who would it be? You're going easily. I know that.
He knows. He's just trying to defend his points. He knows who to drop.
Who's going to
It's
pick?
an easy drop.
You know, people pick.
It has to be Mwani then. It has to be Mwani. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it has to be Mwani.
Thank you.
Because Dortmund almost won the league, the German league as well. So, I mean, Bellingham is ridiculous at both ends of the field. He has it's funny, he's playing as the false nine at Real Madrid now, but for me, he's a box-to-box midfielder, capable of doing everything. So, for me, like, if I had to pick a five-a-side and I had to drop one person from this team, it would probably be Mwani. So, yeah. All right. Next five. Kvaratskhelia. I like that guy's name. Charles.
That's it.
I love
Who
it.
am I?
Kvaratskhelia. Who are you dropping? Or do they all
Honestly,
deserve to be there?
So here's the thing. I think list because there's so many 5, top 6, top 7 leagues in the world, in Europe, for instance, World Cup happening.
Mhm.
Everyone who makes league, just 30 people, they deserve to be on it. Whether they actually deserve to be on it. Now, who is the least deserving on this list? I said it earlier, it's hard to put away Man City players, but I'm not really sure what we did last season because it was injured, and of course it's easy for him to make that list instant. But I'm leaning towards this because of how he was in and out season. It wasn't as consistent due to injury. If it was maybe being consistent, we would know. But because of his injuries, he was in another team,
Yeah.
and I think when he was even fit and wasn't starting, which is understandable. But yeah, Ruben Diaz will be my man on this team.
Yeah,
Can't
I
talk
think I
about
have
Haaland.
to agree with you.
Okay, great.
I think I have to agree for you because for me, and I think I was saying this earlier as well. Nathan Ake was actually for me the best City defender last season. I think he was really beaten. Finished the season with maybe just only 1 or 2 yellow cards all season. He was in the Netherlands team that got all the way to the quarterfinals, almost made it through to the semis as well. So for me, if City defenders are getting in just based on the fact of being, one of the best defenders, one of the meanest defenses, and having won the treble, for me, Ake would be the one that I pick. We know what Kvaratskhelia did in the Serie A. We saw Martinez win the World Cup. There's no discussing Haaland. Barella led Inter Milan more or less to the Champions League final. So all the others have, things that you can say specifically for them. Bjorn?
Yeah. You guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes, loud and
Okay.
clear.
Awesome. I again just repeating the same point that we've all been making since the beginning. Everyone on this list deserves to be there. And if I had to drop anyone, I think I'll go with Chaz as well. I don't know what Ruben Diaz is doing on this list. Honestly, I really don't know. It doesn't mean he's not a great player. It was at the World Cup, but come on, man. That's not enough to get him on this list. And it begs the question of where's Nathan Ake on this list, right? He's missing. So there's Ruben Diaz and there's no Nathan Ake. They both made it to the World Cup. They both won the league. They both won the Champions League. And Ake had a better season than Ruben Diaz, right? And Ake was more consistent. Ruben Diaz was out due to injury. So that's the guy that I would draw. Scalia, well, I struggle. I'm so sorry. But that guy, the Napoli guy, these were the guys that supported Osimhen. These guys did so well. He has to be on
That guy
that.
is
He
brilliant.
deserves to be. It's not gonna win it, but this guy is really good. I at some point we thought it was gonna land in Real Madrid, but I don't know what happened with the interest. So Nicolo Barella, great player, Champions League performance. He deserves to be there. Martinez, great goalkeeper, made it to the World Cup. Of course, one of the possible winners on this list. So I think for Mr. Ruben Diaz, and everybody else could stay. And I think if I had to drop one more person, then I'll probably start with Barella, then maybe drop Martinez, then Scalia, then yeah. Okay, but that's it.
Okay. All right. Charles, any last additions? Any
Yeah, I was
last
just
comments before we?
you both want Ake being replacement for Ruben Diaz. Walker deserves. I feel like Walker had a solid at his age. The ins and outs about what we're about is the rumors. At some point, when Pep said he wasn't, the way they are playing right now, Walker can fit. So many things happened, but Walker, every time he played, and I think for that spot, just my. At least we all agree Ruben Diaz should be dropped. I didn't even bother guys on the list because there was no point.
Yeah.
We know what he did. Barella, so the final. I mean, we won the war, and I'm never gonna mention the last guy.
All right. Next 5. Bjorn, drop anyone?
Wow, come on, man. This is a good list. This is a tough one. Dropping. Oh man, I think Odegaard might have to take the chopping block. He's a great player at the double digits, goal scoring figures.
Yeah.
Did well, fantastic season. Lifted Arsenal not to the trophy, but to the second position. Maybe if we had won the league, maybe we would have been talking about Odegaard being a Ballon d'Or. So it's very possible, right? But also we didn't play Champions League, so Arsenal didn't play Champions League. So no. I'm just saying. Again, I'm saying the league is one, the Champions League is another, right?
Yeah.
We do one, play Champions League, one Champions League. So it He deserves to be on this list. Vinicius, obviously a great player. He's not going to win it. He deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
Julian Alvarez won the World Cup, won the Champions League, won the league. Great player. He didn't win it from the bench. He came from the bench, but he contributed as well. And he had goals in Champions League, had goals on the league. So he deserves to be on this list. Bono, great guy, great goalkeeper. After dropping Odegaard, if I had to drop one more person, probably Bono. And I'll keep the 3. So that's my assessment of this list.
Charles, do you have any different opinions, or you agree with Beto?
I was leaning towards Bono because my dropping idea was big. If you don't have a trophy, automatically drop. Yes, so that's where Odegaard and Bono came in. World Cup and what Arsenal did in the league. It's like I'm struggling between the two, pick as the one to be dropped. It's a real struggle, but Morocco did in the World Cup. I want to move what Arsenal did, maybe a little bit, with all due respect to Arsenal. So that's why I'm going to be dropping. The other guys, Alvarez won a quadruple, technically, I mean, trouble with his country. Vinicius has been doing. I know Real Madrid did get a trophy last season, the top trophy, and Gundogan, just like the rest, KDB, he did what he seemed. So I'll be going with Odegaard. Also, maybe if he had FA Cup or something.
Just one thing. About Bono. Did Bono win a trophy, European trophy with Sevilla?
I don't think that was last season.
Make sure that we don't.
Was that last season?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure if you're talking about trophy, about trophy, Charles, he did win a trophy.
So
okay,
good.
Yeah, I agree. My choice would be Odegaard as well. And as much as I really like Odegaard and I'm an Arsenal fan, but I think even just what Bono did was inspirational. I think at the World Cup, I think just for that alone, one of the best goalkeepers in the world at the moment. I know he's gone to Saudi Arabia, but one of the best goalkeepers in the world, at the moment, deserves to be on the list. All right.
Yep.
We're running through these now. Okay. Next 5. Number 20 to 25. Who drops?
This one is a tough.
Oh, geez.
I can help you. Not that guy.
No. I'm not looking at it.
I think I can drop.
So not that guy. So who drops from here?
I mean, you already placed it in an order that we can follow. Not entirely right, but I think you have the number 1 staying as number 1.
We're looking at the 4 people.
We might have to move the 35-year-old guy up. But I think I would drop Griezmann. Not that he's not great, but I would drop Griezmann. He didn't win anything. He played well in the World Cup. He was actually even used in a position that helped France. Just behind the striker, and he helped them. So he did very well. Hard worker. I would drop Griezmann. Spain had a very terrible World Cup showing, but Rodri compensated for that with that. Even he won the Champions League. It was his goal. It was his long goal from Rodri that won the Champions League.
Correct.
So Rodri should stay on this list. And we also know how he contributed to Man City coming back and winning the league. This guy, take him out, you have basically destroyed Peps. So he has to stay on. Lautaro Martinez did very well, played very well in the final as well. So after dropping Griezmann, if I had to drop somebody else, that would be Martinez. And I'll keep those 3. Lewandowski won the league with Barcelona. That's a guy testing out himself, leaving Bayern Munich and going to another league and winning the league in the first season. So I think it deserves to be there. Poland didn't go too far in the World Cup, but it deserves to be there. So he's a top striker at his age. He's got a lot of goals, same as Benzema. So if Benzema is there, Lewandowski should be there.
Yeah.
So that would be my pick.
I think the only difference for me is I kind of see Martinez and Griezmann at the same level for me. And I think it's important to know that, Martinez didn't have any goals or assists at the World Cup.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Do you guys realize that? Which was interesting. And I think even at times that for Inter
That's
last
true.
season,
Well, Martinez
his
is probably
performance
he's probably there
was,
because of
you know,
him.
suspect. There were times he was starting from the bench or not having much of an impact. So he had a bit on and off season for me last season. Griezmann for me was still quality. So for me, almost want to say Martinez gets the drop for me ahead of Griezmann, but you know, I wouldn't be offended with dropping either of those two first. Charles, anything to add there?
Yeah, those are the two I'm struggling with also. Griezmann. And although it was phenomenal in the World Cup, man,
Yeah.
he really was good in the World Cup, and he was able to adjust to the new rule and do what he did. That was like the backbone. So it's hard to ignore. If they had won it, maybe I mean it won't be that difficult. So it's kind of one final versus the other, but they both went. We
Yeah.
look at their impact on the team. Now that I think about what you just said, change of mind because individual impact for the Champions League, Martinez was not as effective for the Inter Milan team last season
All right.
as Griezmann was for France. So I'm going to give it to Martinez. Go there. Lewandowski, he, like I
Yeah,
said,
no
joined the
question.
league, did what he did, you know, stayed on fire. And yeah, like I said, I'm only discussing those four guys. There's no point mentioning anybody else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Lewandowski had, I think, 28 goals last season. So, all right. Last five.
And
Last
that's
five.
even low for me.
I know. Last five. All right.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go
They
first on
really
this
know how
one.
to set this thing.
Charles, how about you go first on this one?
Charles should go.
I
Great
mean,
man.
honestly, to me, it's not that hard actually. Although everybody did great, but like just like the previous list, we're just going to focus on the four below, right?
Pretty much.
Whenever we look at above, Osimhen. So I respect Osimhen. Is bound. Is meant
So I think I missed what you said, Charles. You said
to look at
Yeah,
doing
I
what
think
he
your
does
audio.
best. And Croatia did
Are
good.
you having some audio
let's
issues
come back
from
to
Charles
Charles.
as well?
Who drops from the list for you?
Okay, now I'm beginning to feel like that was a strategy by Charles to evade the question so that I could jump into it. This is tough, a bit. And you will be surprised that
I know
I
you're about
have
to
to
drop.
drop based on trophy because that's the criteria that we've kind of been considering, and it's going to be a shock, a rude shock. I have to drop Harry Kane. He had number of goals, broke record again with Tottenham. But come on, man, where did it take him to? You know, World Cup they got eliminated in quarterfinals. So yeah, I have to drop Harry Kane. Back with one. I had a final. Osimhen basically lifted Napoli, repeated what Maradona did in the past. So that's a record right there. He has to stay on. Luka Modric had a fantastic, actually knocked out Brazil in the World Cup. His team knocked out Brazil in the World Cup. Had a great run until they met Man City in the Champions League. They didn't win the league as well. So if I had to drop somebody else, next after Harry Kane will be Luka Modric. Then I'll keep the three because this guy was solid defender. Bayern Munich won the league. Played for South Korea, beat Germany. So those top three should stay. And I will have to
Kim
drop
Min-jae was at
last.
Napoli last season, by the way. He won the league with Napoli.
Yeah, I was just
Okay. Yeah.
Bayern.
So I'll have to drop the bottom two.
So Charles, I think we can come back to you now. What who was your pick?
I don't know what happened. Can you guys?
We hear you now. We understand your tactic and strategy
We understand
push Beto ahead.
There was no tactic. It was just the Lord helping me.
A simulated audio issue. We got you.
Whatever. So unfortunately, because I always said it it for a while, and Harry Kane is EPL player. I'm a big fan of Harry Kane. I'm glad he's switched now. Hopefully, he can win a trophy. But I mean, based on trophies, he has to be the one to be dropped. Individually, he's on fire. Although Ballon individual award, not impact person makes on the team, so I can't be the one to be dropped. Look at Modric. Like Biodun said, if you compare what the others did, they're great in the World Cup. What they did really like get the major trophies, so that's why he's getting dropped. Kim and Victor Osimhen for Napoli on fire. Mbappe, we know PSG does what PSG does, but up on Mbappe. I mean, especially that final. Yeah, let's never. So for me, it's a drop. How about you?
Yeah, this one is tough for me. I was going to say Luka Modric because what's that?
Actually, it's not that tough now that I think about it.
I mean, because you set the criteria, so I just followed your criteria. No trophy, you get dropped.
Yeah.
Well, so this is not necessarily about trophy, right? This is
I'm just
supposed
saying,
to be based on Charles's criteria.
I mean, that thing has been coming up. It's been coming up from the first slide, right? So just saying.
So it's the best players in the world, right? And it's hard to ignore what Harry Kane did in the league last season as well, because I think Haaland pushed him even to a new level. I mean, Harry Kane has been one of the highest goal scorers for the past 8 years. But I think the competition Haaland provided, given that he was in a Tottenham team, to score 30 goals in the league, for me was exceptional. So it's very hard to drop. It's hard to look past Kim Min-jae, because Napoli won the league. So for me, even though it almost wants to break my heart, I feel like Luka Modric is the drop for me in this one. So that brings us to the end. So let's run through it real quick. Now that we've had a chance to review all 30 and talk about them, Biodun, just give me your top 5. Who makes your top 5?
Oh man, you're gonna do me a favor. Again, that would be tough because you want me to go from 30 to 5. That's tough, man. That's like a 6-week assessment. Assessment work. So if you can flash from the beginning, let's just flash the slides again, and
all right.
Let me begin to do a mental pick.
Okay.
Of my top 5 and see. Okay.
And Charles, right. I'll give you the opportunity to review the 30 again as well.
No, okay. I'm doing it too. I'm doing it too.
Okay. You got it?
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right. And last but not least. Okay.
Okay. All right. In no order. I think it's gonna be.
Oh my God. Really?
In no order, it's gonna be Erling Haaland.
Should be in an order.
Lionel Messi. In no order. Just listen to me, please. In no order, Erling Haaland, Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe,
okay,
Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay.
Can you go back some slides back?
Go back.
Let me see again. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do the rewind.
Okay.
You
said top 5. I can't do top 6.
Yeah, top 5.
I'm struggling with the top.
One more slot.
With the 5th person. Yeah, one more slot.
You have one more slot.
I'm trying to think who to give it to. I'll give it to Julian Alvarez.
Okay. Charles, you're 5.
You may want to go. You may want to go before me, Ayo.
Okay. I'll go. Mine is very simple. I think very close to Biodun's list actually. Haaland, because treble, scored ridiculous amount of goals. Messi for dragging Argentina to the World Cup finally. Mbappe for everything he did with PSG and for dragging. I mean, that game was literally dead and done in the final until Mbappe was like, "No, this has to be spectacle." Julian Alvarez because he became the starting striker for Argentina. That should have been Lautaro Martinez. It was Julian Alvarez who was the leading striker, and I think his combination with Messi was particularly key for Argentina winning the league. And he won the treble with City. I mean, contributing every time he was called up as well. So for me, those four, no question, those are my top four. Now for number five, I think I have to give it to someone who is defensive, and for that, I'm going to give Emi Martinez for his heroics. I know he got some flack for his antics, in the final, but you still can't deny his performances during the penalty shootouts to lead Argentina, and we will forever always talk about that save from Wani as well. In the dying seconds of the World Cup to confirm the penalty shootout. So those are my five.
Let me ask you a question.
You dropped
My
KDB.
five.
Yeah, KDB was in and out for me. He was injured. He didn't play in the final.
Makes sense. It's a sign of respect for me to pick KDB. That's it.
Understood.
So if you give it number 6,
Hey, you said just 5. Charles, no,
wait,
don't answer that question. He needs to pick his first 5 first. You know what, Charles? Before we entertain that question, pick your first 5.
Give us your 5 before you get my number 6.
Before you get to number 6, so give us your top 5. Come on, man, don't be too smart.
Actually very easy. My 5 is actually very easy. I said you should go first so you could create a controversy because Mbappe, KDB. I was struggling between Alvarez and Martinez, but talking about Alvarez and what Alvarez did and what he did for his club, it was a no-brainer for me. Haaland, Messi, and KDB, Alvarez matching exactly with Billons. Now, I question will be because I'm struggling with giving Martin, and I understand you have up your point, why you did. I feel like if you watch this scene and Martinez was just to, but I guess it's going to be a when I talk about who will be number 1, number 2. Martinez in the whole games, I'm against the World Cup. But what KDB did, I mean, KDB was literally the who fed Haaland currently. I think he broke his record for assists this season. You understand? In the final Champions League, it's hard to ignore KDB. He's up trying in a treble winning team, which he was in assist. I wouldn't take KDB. I wouldn't take Martinez over KDB.
Yeah, so if I were to pick a number 6, I think I would give KDB because, I mean, Belgium didn't have any impact at the World Cup, more or less. I mean, it was the maybe last chance for that golden generation, and they failed to deliver yet again. But I think KDB for me was resurgent. The way he put the disappointment of the World Cup immediately behind him. And Man City was falling behind, at the start of the season. They were, I think, 7-10 points behind Arsenal almost at one point. And it was his impact. He pretty much picked that team up and drove that team ahead to the league. So if I were to pick a number 6, I would pick KDB for his impact. But my top 5 doesn't change.
And if I were to add my number 6, I would add Martinez as well. Emiliano, the goalkeeper.
Yes,
as well. That would be my number 6.
Same here.
Okay.
All right. Awesome, all right. Okay, real quick. 1 minute. Is there anyone who should have made this list that is not there? Honorable mentions.
Nathan Ake definitely for me. Nathan Ake should have been on this list.
Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe William Saliba. William Saliba, Nathan Ake should have been on this list. Yeah.
Okay. Charles,
if I had to put anybody on this list, it's City, so I'll say Kyle Walker. ahead of Ruben.
That's true. I agree with that. Kyle Walker should have made the list as well.
Okay.
And I mean, again, I also think we can root for Declan Rice. He lifted the European tournament. He had a great season. You could have made a list of 30 people, But again, he didn't play Champions League. Saliba didn't play Champions League, so I would be fine with Nathan Ake and Kyle Walker making the list.
Yeah, I think for me, Nathan Ake is probably the only person that I'm paying to make the list. At least that comes to my mind at the moment. Yeah, awesome, good session. Well, we look forward to seeing who's going to win. Anybody bold enough to predict? Diego?
Oh man,
Who takes it?
I mean, just for that World Cup factor, and because Messi has been a UEFA FIFA Golden Boy, I think Erling Haaland should win it. But if they're going to play the factor of favorite guy, I think Messi might snatch it. We'll be all right. But Messi might win it, but I think it should go to Erling Haaland. If we're just focusing on the season, the league, European competitions, and all that. Yeah. Because Messi didn't do anything spectacular that he has never done before in his career with PSG. Right? And even the World Cup, it was more of somebody able to captain the ship. It wasn't the doer. It wasn't like, the main guy. You understand what? The hard worker behind that team are people like Enzo Fernandez, Alvarez, so exactly. So those were the key guys. They played for him, but he was a good captain, of the ship. So he landed the World Cup. But PSG, it's nothing to write home about. Even Mbappe, I wouldn't have picked him because of PSG, because that's given. But because he showed up in that World Cup and brought that game back to we're not gonna give up. And because of his age and what he's capable of, we all know that, So we didn't talk about the disappointment on this list, and some people that we know that they don't deserve to be on this, but these are names that you wonder why they were missing out of the 30. Neymar, and I think that's another conversation. Why Neymar is not on this list, I think that's a separate conversation. I think it's a disappointment. I think it's a shame, but I think it's okay.
A shame meaning he should have been, or a shame meaning he has the talent to be, but it's not there.
Yeah, he has everything to make a 30-man list, and he didn't. So
Okay. All right. Great session, Charles. Who's yours? Who's your winner?
Our Neymar talk just some Neymar's time is done. The times when he was making the list apart, just like Ronaldo, and just like this is done also. So they all have their. But who should be on this list? I said I'm Walker, right? Walker should be on this list. Who should be on this list, but is not?
Is there anybody that has the talent? Like Biodu said, has the talent, but isn't there on performances at the moment?
I really can't think of anyone. There's probably some I can't think of. No.
Nicolas Pepe?
Someone like probably someone like.
Let's rock. Let's rock.
But
it's really
who's
going to
win it? Hold on. Erling Haaland. I'm going to quote only. Craig Burley said, if Erling Haaland doesn't win it, this guy puts in numbers, bro. The Premier League record,
ridiculous numbers.
I understand people's. It's his first season DPL, but Ballon d'Or is a yearly thing. So
you deserve to get
performance
by what he did over the course of the year.
So based on individual records he broke, based on the performance with the year, me personally, it's a no-brainer. And I Messi, everybody else, I really believe Erling Haaland. I don't think anybody else deserves.
I agree. All right. That's mine as well. Great session, guys. Awesome. Looking forward to seeing you back for the EPL next weekend. Stay tuned. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
All right.